Hello friends, in this video we will be seeing how loops in Python works. Welcome to my channel Programming in Python with RSK, and I am Rajendra Kulkarni. In this video we will be seeing how for loop works, while loop works, what is operator in, what is a function range, and how continue to and break keywords are useful in managing the loops. So let us start our video. Loops are used to execute a block of instructions repeatedly in our program as per the requirement of our logic. Python has two types of loops. We can have two types of loops in Python. One is called for loop and other is called while loop. When we want to iterate a block of statements or even a single statement known number of times, then we use for loop. So generally, it is a general practice in programming. Suppose we want to print a certain character 20 number of times, we will use for loop for that. While loop is used generally when the statements are to be executed till certain conditions are met. So it is a general practice, it's not a rule. Neither Python asks you to use a while loop or a for loop in a particular requirement of program's logic, but it is generally a practice followed by the programmers because it is easier. So in while loop, when a particular condition is met, the loop will terminate and program control comes out of the while loop block. How for and while are used? Just simple examples, not real ones, just explanatory examples. So here this is a for loop because it starts with for. Then there is a variable called I we have used here. You can name this variable anywhere, any type you want, any name you can give to this variable. Then there is a operator in. In is called a operator in Python. How it is used, what it does, we will see in the next few slides. Then there is a function range, that is also a Python function, and its argument is a number. So what this number says, in this particular instance, for I in range 10, I will iterate from 0 to 10, and when I reaches 9 and when I becomes 10 after 9, the loop will terminate. Here what we are giving three statements: print I is equal to I, statement 1, statement 2 and all. This is called a for block. It will be executed until I is equal to 9. All these statements will execute till I is 9. From 0, for every increment in value of I, one iteration takes place. And when I is equal to 10, loop will terminate. While using for loop, this colon here is necessary. Value of I is equal to 0, it sets to 0 and increment by 1 in every iteration. This indent is necessary. This indent will give this block as a This will make it a block of 4, and without this indent the program will not work. This for loop will not work. Similarly, a while loop, how it is used? Suppose we have I is equal to 100, then while the condition I is more than 90, print I. Then in for loop the incrementation is automatic. We don't have to programmatically increment or decrement the value of object I in for loop. In while loop we have to take care that the value of I is incremented or decremented as per our program logic, specifically giving a statement like I is equal to I minus 1. In this case we are decrementing it. If you want to increment, it will be I is equal to I plus 1. And when the loop terminates, when I value of I is 90, loop will terminate, and this print out of loop I is equal to I will be executed. Here again loop iterates till condition is true. Colon necessary, indent necessary. The value of I is decremented because we have set I is equal to 100 and our condition says that I should be greater than 90. If I will be incremented, this loop will become an infinite loop because every time I will be more than 90. An example program for loop in Python: for I in range 10, print I. So this in is a operator in Python and range is a function in Python. How they operate, how they work, we will see in the next slide. Now in this loop, for this for statement, print I is the only statement that will be executed in every iteration, and we get a output of 0 to 9 which pertains to this execution of this for loop. Then we are given a statement print underscore into 10. This causes the underscore to be printed 10 times. Now we can see here the underscore has been repeatedly printed 10 times. The reason is multiplied by 10 is the reason for that. Then we have given another for loop for I in range 10, 22 and then a colon. What this range tells? That at the beginning of the execution of loop I shall have a value of 10. It will increment up to 20 and each incrementation will be by 2. Print I. So 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 are the outputs from this for loop. As soon as the value reaches 20, loop will terminate. It will not execute the statements in the block when I reaches value of 20. These indents and colons we have seen in the last slide, previous slide. These are extremely necessary, without which the program will not execute. The compiler will throw an error. For I in range 10, we use the function range by giving one single value or a constant here. It has to be a int constant. I is set to 0 and increment by 1, and the loop iterates till I is equal to 9. Loop terminates when I reaches the value of 10. Similarly, for I in range 10, 22, I increment by 2 every time in every iteration of the loop. When loop execution starts, I is set to value 10, increment by 2, and loop terminates when I is equal to 20. The third argument in the function range sets the interval by which the variable named I here should be incremented. We can have any name for this I in place of I. It can be A, B, C, or A, B, B, C, C, or whatever a programmer likes to use. When the counter, which is I in this case, reaches the value indicated as end of range, in this case it is 10, in this loop it is 20. Loop terminates and any further iteration is skipped. In is an operator in Python, and what it does, it traverses through the given range. When we use in, I will traverse in the range given. In this case, it will traverse the range from 0 to 10. In this case, I will traverse, because of operator in, starting with 10, ending with 20, and incremented by 2 every time. Range is a function in Python, and it sets the desired iteration criteria. In case of loops, range can be used for desired iteration. It's not necessary that range can be used only in loops. There are many other uses of range, and also there are many other uses of in. We will see those when we go through various different features of Python in further videos. The range function generates a sequence of integers. We have seen already in the program, range has created a sequence of integers starting from particular value and ending at particular value, specific value, with specific intervals. When interval is not mentioned, interval is by default 1. So for I in range 10 generates a sequence of integers from 0 to 9. For I in range 10, 20 generates sequence of integers from 10 to 19. Then this 2 generates the integers with in a step of 2. Here we can also give -5 as a step by which range should assume the I in this case, or a variable used for this will assume the value. Operator in causes traversing of the range. Just simple example, we have not seen this particular variable up till now. A is equal to 10, 20, 25, 30, 40 enclosed in the square brackets. What this is this is a collection in Python, and it is named list. We will see the details of list in further videos. For num in AA, print num is equal to num. Now in this case, this variable num, which we have declared for using the for loop, for num in AA. AA is a list. Print num is equal to num. What is the output we expect? we know when we use in operator, the variable named prior to in will traverse through a range. When it is used with a range, it will traverse through this collection AA, which is a list in this case, and it will assume, or it will take a value of sequentially 10, 20, 25, 30, 40. So output will be 10, 20, 25, 30, 40. This is how range, or this is how in operator works in Python. There are wide uses of range and in various types of features that we will see when we come to those features. Now this program just indicates that here I is equal to 3. We start with a program, the I is set to 3. But as soon as for I in this 2, 4, 6, 8, 13, 15 values, which are the members of list, this for will execute taking this value sequentially from starting from 0th location in the list. Then we check it for I mod 2 is equal to 0, print I, else print reached odd number. Whenever I is equal to I mod 2 is 0, that means what we are going to do through this logic is we are going to output the even numbers which are present as members of this list. The main thing that we have to understand here is, even if we assign certain value to a variable I, as soon as we start using it in a for loop, that 3 is I is equal to 3 is ignored by the compiler. That object 3 gets destroyed as far as the program execution is concerned, and I will have a new object will be formed where I will be having a value of 2. The object of 2 will be created and reference to the variable name I. Then as I traverses, or the in operator causes I to traverse, I will assume the value of 4, then 6, then 8. So these new objects 2, 4, 6, 8, 13, 15 will be created, out of which 2, 4, 6, 8 will be displayed because of this logic. And when it reaches 13, the output will be reached odd number. The important thing that we have to note here is, whatever is the reference I referring to certain object before the for loop, that reference is lost, or that I name is disconnected from the object 3, and it starts referring to a new object created with list here, the first value of list, or range. Even if there is a range here, for I in range 10, 0 to 10, I will start pointing towards the first object 0, then 1. These are the different objects that will be created, to which I will be referenced. We can see here, this program simply does the same thing that we are achieving here. the only addition is the id. This print I is equal to I and id I. We can see 4 different objects have been created when the output of the output changes and reference by I changes from 242 to 2, 4, 6, 8 and all. For every value of I, new object is created. We can nest for loops in Python. Now this program explains how it is done. We are a outer for loop for rate in 5, 8, 10. These 3 values we want to assign to rate. Then another for loop which is now nested in the outer for loop. This is the inner for loop, this is the outer for loop. For tenure in 3, 6, 9, total int is equal to sum into rate into tenure divided by 100. So what these 5 steps here do? Sum is assigned with value 10,000, int is assigned with total int is assigned with 0, and we use 2 for loops, one nested into another. Now what will happen? As soon as the for loop outer for loop starts executing, the rate will first have a value of 5, then the loop will enter into the another for loop where tenure will assume the value of 3, and this for loop will execute till 3, 6 and 9 are tenure are assigned to value tenure, keeping the rate at 5. Here we get the output tenure, rate and total interest. For every value of rate in outer for loop, inner for loop executes for the given set of tenures. Now this is the output. Tenure is 3, then it goes to 6, then 9. This sequence continues with the value 5 first, then this sequence will reset. Outer for loop will assign 8 to rate, and for this value of 8 again the inner for loop will execute 3 times and so on. Now we will see how Python while loop works. As we have earlier seen in our program, I is assigned with 100. While I is more than 90, print I is equal to I minus 1, and then when the value reaches, I's value reaches 90, the loop will terminate and this print statement will be executed. While I greater than 90, and here we are decrementing I by 1. So what we get is output is 199 up to 91, and when I is 90 the loop will terminate. It will not execute the print and I minus 1 statements. It will directly execute the statement which is outside the while loop block. Another example of while loop. We have a variable square underscore side which is 0, circ dia underscore dia is equal to 10. This I use for diameter of a circle, this I use for side of a square. Circle area, circ underscore area is pi into d square by 4. Area of circle is 78.5. This print statement displays the area of the circle, which is 78.5. Now what we are doing here is area of a square till it is less than area of a circle, we are outputting the side of the square and area of the square. When the loop terminates, we get some different value. So this is the output. This while loop, first of all, area of circle is displayed here, 78.5. This while loop will continue till the area of a square given by square of its sides is less than area of the circle. The first value that the side of a square or square underscore side assumes is 0. Then area of a square is square underscore side into square underscore side, and then square underscore side is incremented by 1. So for when the square side is 1, area of a square is 1, it is less than area of a circle. So next iteration takes place where square underscore side is 2 and now area of a square is 4. In this way till the area of the square with side assigned with 8 will be lesser than the area of the circle, which is 78.5. the loop will iterate. When the area of the when the square underscore side reaches 9, the area of the square will be 9 into 9, square side by into square side, as it is more than area of the circle, which is 78.5. the loop will terminate. Out of loop when square underscore side is 9. We can also nest the while loop. The simple program here, both I and j are the variables assigned with 0, while I is less than 4 is the outer while loop. Inner while loop is j is less than 5. Print I is equal to I, j is equal to j. J is incremented by 1. So this loop will work till j reaches the value of 5. Inner while loop will execute till the value of j is 5. On reaching value of 5, the while loop will terminate. Then the statement out of the inner while loop is I is equal to I plus 1. So I will increment by 1. J will be set to 0 and the inner while loop will again execute the statements till j is less than 5. This j is equal to 0 causes the value of j reset to 0 when it enters in the inner while loop. Indents are important. Indents of statement I plus is equal to 1 and j equal to 0 should match with inner while loop. So this is inner while loop. These are the statements which will be executed by inner while loop. And the output from this program is first I is 0. When I is 0, j will be 0 to 4, incremented from 0 to 4. So inner j loop will terminate. Again j will be set to 0, I will be incremented by 1, and again the external while loop will start executing, which will cause inner while loop to execute till the value of j is less than 5. This slide tells us how random function or random module works. This is important to know for understanding the next two slides here. We have imported the module random. Then there is a for loop I in range 0 to 10. Print random dot randint 1 comma 50. So this randint function or a method of module random will output every time it executes the value starting from 1 and till the value is 49. When value reaches is more than 50 or more than 50, it will not be generated. So this random dot randint generates the values, int values in this case, between the range given as its arguments. What we are getting output here is the number of different values generated. We are going to use this random function or random module in this slide, where I will be explaining how break works in loops in Python. We have imported random, and for I in range 10 we are going to execute a loop. Break is a keyword in Python. It is used to terminate the loop when we want iteration to stop on a meeting a certain logical condition. The programmer sets a particular condition where we want to break the loop. Till that condition reaches, the loop should iterate. Now here j is a int variable which is assigned with randomly generated values between 0 and 10 by this method random.randint. If j is equal to I, print random matched. What we are doing here by this j is equal to I thing, we want when the random number between 0 and 10 is generated and loop is going to execute with I is 0 and incrementing by 1 every time in every iteration. Whenever I value iterated, when I is iterating through 0 to 10, 0 to 9 sorry, if the random number is generated which is equal to I, we want to break the loop. We want to continue, we want to terminate the loop. But before termination, we are going to display a message random is matched with values of I and j displayed through this print statement. And then we use a keyword break. So when I and randomly generated number at that particular iteration matches, the loop will terminate. Then I is incremented by 1, else no match found. So loop is terminated when I is equal to j evaluates to true in this if. In this case, this happened at I is equal to 7. Actually, when I ran this program, this matching of I and randomly generated number j match when I was having a value of 7. at that iteration when I was assigned with 7, the random number generated was also 7, and hence the loop was terminated. That is why if the loop wouldn't have terminated, we could have got a no match found and I should have gone up to 10. In this case, when I is 7, this break statement terminates the loop, because the if here is the condition for if is evaluated to true. Similarly, there is a continue keyword in Python which is also used in loops. We will see how it works. For I in range 0 to 10, j is equal to random.radInt 1 to 50. So what this j will get assigned with is any random generated between number generated between 1 and 49 by this randint method of random module. In every iteration of loop, when I increments from 0 and up to 9, a new random generator will be generated, a random number will be generated. Now we check if j mod 2 is equal to 0. What we are doing is, we want, when j mod 2 is equal to 0 is true, we want to use continue here. What this continue does, it brings the loop back to for with incremented with next iteration. Again, if the number generated is even, the loop will go back and start executing from back here. So whatever are the statements after continue, even though those are the parts of for loop or they are in the for block, those statements will not be executed. The statement we want to execute is print number is equal to j. So whatever number j is generated, whatever number is generated between 1 and 50 and assigned to j, we want that number to be displayed when j mod 2 is not equal to 0. That means we want to print the numbers which are odd and which are generated between 1 and 50 when the loop executes from 0 to 9 value of I. So these are the numbers generated and which are odd, which are printed. If you will count, these are 8 numbers, those were generated for various iterations of the loop took place between I is equal to 0 to I is equal to 9. So out of 10 times this loop would have executed. Out of 10, 8 times the number generated were odd and 2 times number were even. So whenever there was a even number, the loop goes back, the execution of the control of the program goes back to for, is skipping the statement after continue, even though it is a part of for block. When number is generated is even, continue causes program control to return back to for, skipping the statements appearing after the continue in the for block.